What's going on YouTube? Chris here. I want to bring you all an update today of Bitcoin, Litecoin, and XRP. Those are the three that we're going to be going over. What I want to start out with first, guys, I did a video yesterday talking about capital preservation and stop loss, and I know a lot of people really liked it. But there were some people who were saying, what, are you just done with cryptocurrency, this or that? Guys, I'm not done with cryptocurrency at all. But what I'm doing is trading cryptocurrency. And if we're in a bull market, I'm going to trade it bullishly. If we're in a bear market, I'm either going to be sitting out of the market waiting for a great opportunity to jump back in, or if it looks like a great short opportunity, then that's what I'll do. But for me personally, guys, I'm not one to just marry a coin, whether it be Bitcoin or Litecoin or any of those, and say I have to have this. What I need to do is take advantage of the swings in the market. That's what I'm looking to do. And right now, as we continue to look at Bitcoin, we're not in the most bullish scenario like we could be. Just we're not even far from the halving right now, guys, and price is not reflecting that at all. We're at $6,738. So, could anything happen? As we know in this space, you can move $2,000 to $4,000 in the matter of a day. So anything can happen. But as of right now, the trend in the short term is down, because what happened was we lost this green trend line. These were our higher lows. We had a trend line break, and since then we've basically just been consolidating downward. And what we did yesterday was put in another lower high. So we have up here our high, another lower high. So what we're trying to do now is at least get a higher low from the area that we were at before, around $6,561. So then we could at least be bouncing in equilibrium. But what we need to do is break up through the top of this yellow trend line. That's going to be extremely important for us to get up and out through that. So now our new resistance area, even right now, because the lower high that we just put in, we're going to be looking at about $6,945 as new resistance. In terms of support, we're going to be looking down around $6,416, and that's going to be our 200 moving average on the 4-hour time frame. We want to hold that for support, but as of right now, looking at the 4-hour time frame, the best thing that we can get in is an equilibrium pattern to where we set a higher low here, and maybe we come back up and fail again, set another lower high, and then a higher low, and we have that squeezing effect, almost a symmetrical triangle, before we break out either to the upside or the downside. But these are things you have to look at. Until we break this yellow downtrend line, why would I want to go long in this space when we're having lower highs and lower lows for the most part right now? So that's where, guys, I don't hate cryptocurrency at all. I want to trade cryptocurrency. I don't want to get crushed by cryptocurrency. That's the thing. I don't want to lose 60% when I go to bed one night and you wake up the next morning, if you're hodling or whatnot, and you're down 40, 50, 60%. I don't want to do that. So that's why I want to trade with the trend. And right now the trend is not up. And that's what you have to be aware of. It's not up. We don't have an uptrend right now. The best thing we could even say right now, if you take apart from this trend line breaks, that we've just kind of consolidated sideways out of this trend line right here. So that's something that people will talk about as well, I'm sure, but just some consolidation. And then maybe that's the point where we break to the upside, but we still have to get over top of this yellow downtrend line, and that has 3 touches on it now. So that is a valid downtrend line, and it's something that we have to deal with. So what I want to do next was get off this trend line right here in green, since we talked about that. And what we're going to do is go out to the 1-day time frame. And guys, if you get some from this, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Appreciate you all being here with me today, the people who really enjoy this. Like I said, I understand people haven't put in the amount of time that I have in terms of studying this stuff, so they may not understand all of it. But when you really start learning about these things, you can really put the odds in your favor. And that's what I'm trying to do here. I've talked about it. I'm not a magician. I can't tell you exactly what's going to happen next, but I can look at the technicals and put the odds in my favor. I can look for chart patterns and trend line breaks and moving averages and all that different type of stuff that can help you, and you can have clues in this market. And I'm telling you guys, you can be successful in if you learn how to do this stuff. So now in terms of the 1-day time frame, what we're looking at here is a potential candle close. We have not candle closed today below that 20 moving average, this 20 EMA in purple. We really want to stay up above that. Typically, whenever you're in an uptrend on the 1-day time frame, you're going to stay up above that 20, and in a downtrend, it's going to act as overhead resistance. So in an uptrend, it acts support, and a downtrend, it's going to act as overhead resistance. And you can see the fight where we've had these doji candles just fighting back and forth all along here. Short day candles trying back and forth, the bulls and the bears fighting over this 20 EMA. So right now the bears are winning. If they got a candle close like this today, guys, I'm just looking at the 1-day time frame, we could drop pretty hard pretty fast, and before you know it, we could be sitting down around that $6,416 or even lower than that. So we really need to be careful in these areas. And what's also lining up now as well. In this 50 moving average in pink, which a lot of traders pay a lot of attention to, it's lining up with that yellow downtrend now. And with that yellow downtrend, that's going to act as more overhead resistance for you. So that's going to be even more difficult to try to break up through. Guys, I apologize. My son's in there. He's screaming a little bit, but I just wanted to get that out there. He's running all around, and I just have a little office with a glass door here, so I apologize if you hear that. But as we're looking at this, we're calculating this 50 moving average and also this downtrend that we've been in the short term, and we have to look and we say, okay, is this an area where I want to jump in and hope that the market will go up due to some manipulation pump or not? I don't, guys. Like I said, I'm still waiting. It's irritating me because I can't really take a trade right now. I haven't got to do anything. I'm just sitting back, analyzing, being patient. But for me, this isn't the appropriate time to jump in on the one day when I have the 50 moving average overhead and also that 200-day moving average. You read any technical analysis books, when you want to be longing, is you want to be up above those on the one-day time frame. So really pay attention to that. In terms of the one day here, we're going to get into a couple indicators for Bitcoin. We're going to look at the MACD first. MACD, the histogram starting to tick to the negative there. To see how that's coming down, and we have to watch to see if we potentially get a downward cross as well, which it looks like we're getting closer to that. It's hard to tell with those colors, but yeah, we're getting closer to it. So really keep that on your radar. We'll look at that one, then we'll take a look at our stock, RSI. So our stock, another thing you want to look at is when you're doing this, if you can get some type of like a bearish engulfing candle while the stock is crossing to the downside on the 1 hour or the 1 day time frame, that can be a really good indicator that that's a top for you. Just like on the bottom, if the stock starts to cross down in oversold territory and you get like a bullish engulfing candle on heavier volume, that's going to be a sign that that may be the time to go long. Just like in here, we got a bullish engulfing candle. Let me see this, guys. Take a look at this. We had more of a bullish piercing pattern candle right here, and it came with the stock cross on heavier volume. So I'm sure guys entered right there, and they've been riding us up to the point where we started to slow back down. But on the stock, we are still in that negative territory. We had the downward cross. We have not crossed back up to the positive. Our last true positive cross, you can see it was back around March 31st. We had a little one up here, but I would say the true one was around that March 12th when we had that bullish piercing pattern there, and it kind of pushed us to the upside. But, you know, these are things, guys, you got to put them in your radar, and you have to say, you know, is this the time to take a long, or is this the time to sit back and be patient and wait for a great opportunity? And maybe you can buy it around $5,000 or $6,000. And if it pumps to the upside, then wait for that retracement, and then we can talk about potentially going long. But this is a tough, sticky area right now. RSI is at 47. You can see we're pointing down a little bit right now. But also on this, we could have thrown a trend line, and you probably could have seen a trend line break just taking a look here. There's 1 second. Let me move this up for us. So if we do this right here, there would have been your trend line break. Right down through that. And that's your trend line break, and that would have been the time to get out of your position. So I really like to use the RSI as well. But for Bitcoin, guys, that's what I'm looking at right now. Upside overhead resistance, we need to get up above 6,945 in terms of support. We would need to hold about 6,416 are going to be the areas that I'm looking at. Now, in terms of Litecoin, I wanted to jump into that next, and we'll get into XRP. Litecoin's been fighting around this $40 area. So with Litecoin, it was a little bit of ahead of Bitcoin, and that's why I was trading it. I ended up getting out up in here, guys. I played a position. It was like $40.60. I was out somewhere up there around 46 something, and I've been out ever since. But what you saw was an ascending triangle. We broke out, and then we threw back, and now we're actually trading below that horizontal resistance if we bring that back down to where we had it. So we're sitting right on that area right now. And for me, same deal like with Bitcoin. We had the 50 moving average pressing down. We're fighting with this 40 moving average right here in orange. And we also have our white moving average, which is our 200-day moving average, and our 20s now acting as overhead resistance. So we're losing all of our moving averages. And again, it's a difficult spot to take a long right now. I know the candles are getting a little tighter here, but we have to wait to see which way it's going to end up breaking. And to get a little more detail, I like to go into the 4-hour time frame. I do a lot of trading on the 4-hour and entries on the 1 hour. So what you see is we had our trend line break here, and then we kept fighting to get back into it. You know how I always talk with you all about how if you have a trend line break, about 50% of the time you'll have a throwback or a pullback onto that trend line, depending on which way you're looking at it, before you potentially could drop again or get back up into that trend line. So that's definitely a possibility. And right here, we hit it again, and then we fell back down. We've set another lower high. So same deal for Litecoin. If we're looking at this on the 4-hour time frame here, could probably go up even in this range I'll work this with you guys a little bit. We want as many touches as possible is what we're looking for. So somewhere about right there. And what we're going to do is get rid of our green trend line. Try here, guys. There we go. So right here, we'd have a touch here, we'd have a touch here, and then we'd have a touch here. So what we need to do is break out from this like we talked about. We have to get up over top about $41.86. That's a rough area for us. Yeah, about $41.68 we need to get up above, guys, and turn that into support. And then to the downside, if we do break to the downside, we're going to need to hold $39.54. But overall, do you see how the downtrend is formed now? Lower highs and lower lows. And now we're going to see what we do here. If we set a higher low, we can maybe get that trend line break. Or if this trend line is just going to act as overhead resistance. And this is how I like to look at it, guys. Higher highs, higher lows in bull markets. Lower highs, lower lows in those bear markets. So right now, the impulses are down. Do you see the heavy volume with that? Impulse down, heavy volume. Our reactions are on less volume. This is definitely a confirmed downtrend that we're in. And, you know, short-term downtrends can turn into intermediate, then they turn into longer, like I was reading to you yesterday. So this is where you really need to protect yourself and just be careful. Okay, so that's for Litecoin right now. Overhead resistance, we're going to be looking at about 41.68. We're going to need to get up above. If we do end up breaking up above that, we need to turn that into support. To the downside, we really don't want to lose about 39.54. That's going to be the 200 moving average on the 4-hour time frame. And we've been trading up above that since the 6th of April. So we want to stay up above that. We don't want that to start acting as overhead resistance for us. Then we could start getting in some trouble. But guys, main thing I think is being safe with your capital right now and waiting for a good opportunity, you know, until we're in a clear uptrend. It's defined. That's something I'm going to be looking at. So want to put that out there. If you guys like me covering Litecoin, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You're part of the Litecoin family. And then we'll move into XRP here. We'll take a look at this. So XRP has been flirting around that 18 cents. So this is the chart that I've been looking at for XRP. You can see we had a breakout right here. And we ended up going, it was a decent little move here. It wasn't the best I like to see. It wasn't on the most volume, but in terms of the price range, when we really had a confirmed move there, we went up about roughly 17%. So that's a nice move, and that just shows the power of the trend line breaks, which I'm always harping on. So there's your trend line break right there. So that's going to be something that's important. But same with XRP right now. We are still in this downtrend in terms of the 4-hour time frame. We're having lower highs, and we're almost having more of a flat bottom here. So this could turn almost into a descending triangle. And a lot of times what you'll do, you'll draw your trends up through here, just like that. And we have enough touches, and then what you can even do is put like a horizontal ray, something along in here. And then this would be your descending triangle. And what we're going to look to see is if we break to the downside out of that. Typically for descending triangles, about 70% of the time you're going to break to the downside. It's the opposite of an ascending triangle. But it's something that if you learn how to play these and you're aware and you wait for either a breakout to the upside here, because you can still have that 30% chance of breaking to the upside here. And sometimes they can be strong out of that, or you'll get that downside break. But in terms of XRP, what I'd be looking for is for us to get over top of, we'll call it 19 cents is going to be important, and up above this 50 moving average on the 4-hour time frame, which is going to be at about 0.19112. So we need to get back up above that, and then support is going to be at 0.17184 is going to be the support that I'm looking at. But we did have a trend line break. You can see in white here, this was our uptrend. We were moving, and now we're starting to break down again, and we're in this descending triangle. So we don't want to have another leg down, guys. Out of descending triangles, you can get a decent little leg down there. So we really need to stay cautious. We need to protect ourselves in this. If we bounce out to the 1-day time frame, we'll get another little look at this in the moving average of how everything's been responding. So here we have our 200 acting as overhead resistance. We're fighting with our 50 here. The candles are getting really tight. So this is where we need to pay attention for XRP, whether we're going to get that upward or that downside break. It could be large when it happens. And then we're trying to hold that 20 EMA as support. So there's the fight between the 20 and the 50. We're getting squeezed. So I would definitely say for XRP, a break or a move is going to be coming pretty soon here. So that's definitely something you need to be aware of. In terms of the 1-day time frame, we're going to take a look at our relative strength. Is pointing down here. We're at 49, so running a little bit more neutral on that. In terms of our MACD, take a look. MACD histogram starting to point down. Same deal here. Okay, and these are all the things you just want to factor in. You just want to put them together. And then we'll go for our stock RSI. Stock RSI, we did have our downward cross. We have not had a positive move to the upside. So in my opinion, if you're not in XRP position right now, this wouldn't be the time to jump in. Same deal, just sitting back waiting to see what the next move is going to be, which way we're going to go. So upside targets, we're going to look at about 20 cents that we'll call 0.20394. And then downside on the 1-day time frame, it would probably be that 20 EMA, which is going to be 0.18512 is what I'm looking at. So just want to bring this to you guys. You get something from it, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I appreciate you all being here with me today. God bless and take care.